The Sunspeckled Terrace is washed in a cozy and familiar aura. It feels safe. It feels like you've been here at some point in your life, and yet you know that you haven't. This area reaches out and it taps on your heart, just delicately enough that you're aware, but not intense enough to reveal its actual form. This is the first place you're allowed to wander in Pikmin 4. The treated hardwood floor of a deck, the greens and browns of displaced soil and relocated flora, the ephemera of an amateur landscape that populates the whole area. Every visual aspect swirling together into a comforting mixture of artificial nostalgia and safety. It all sparks the imagination to kick into overdrive in an attempt to put together the pieces of Pikmin's now retconned lore. Are humans still alive? Is this actually Earth? Why haven't we encountered any human life if they are still present? None of these questions have a solid answer. In spite of this, the Sunspeckled Terrace calms the mind. It undoubtedly has a human presence, and the evidence around the area puts the mind at ease. The contrast is notable here. In the eyes of our protagonists, all of it equates to terrifying alien implements and installations. It's remarkable how well it serves to ease our minds, however. In previous games, especially 1 and 2, the alien feeling of PNF 404 was oppressive and unsettling. Here, though, the use of such blatant, familiar imagery and setting lets us latch onto a sense of grounding. It's a genius way to make the player feel both astoundingly confused and extremely relaxed simultaneously. There's far more layers than that in the Sunspeckled Terrace. Things like this electric gate make my brain hurt as I perform mental gymnastics trying to comprehend why it's here. What circumstances would drive a human to implement something like this in their garden? Or maybe it's just some sort of pest control? Or maybe it was just an unfortunate device that was broken and unstable. It seems intentional based on design. There are indicators that communicate the charge level or perhaps the strength of the current running through it, and it's all clearly visible as well, which alludes to it being placed there with care and intent. The set dressing itself works perfectly too. Seeing the light moving through the tree cover as the day goes on gives you a soothing, deep relaxation, like sitting out on a bench on a nature trail. You're mostly in the shade, erratic rays of sunlight slip through the tree cover and lap at your skin. There's a slight breeze, and as it caresses your face, you watch the sunlight dance on the ground, filtered into the illusion of motion by the wind through the leaves. You take a deep breath, close your eyes, and exhale while the warm wind of a late spring day blows your worries off into the distance. Making the first area of the game such a comforting space sets a great standard for the rest of the game. This is all going to be familiar in design, yet alien in every other way. Not to mention, there is an actual bench in this little garden getaway. What if someone were to sit here right now? It makes you jump to other lines of thought, such as, what if I were the human sitting on that bench? If these tiny aliens were hiding under it, going about their business, would I be even remotely aware? Suddenly, your mind is wandering even more. Could this be actually happening every day and we just don't notice it? The familiar things in unfamiliar places trope is something I always love to see, because of how effectively unsettling it can actually be. Take a chair, for example, a normal dining room chair. Sit neatly at a table. That's a familiar thing in a familiar setting, sitting right where it belongs. However, if you take that same familiar object and put it in a place it shouldn't be, it can be incredibly unnerving. It's used a lot in really effective horror games and movies. That same dining room chair, sitting by itself in the middle of an otherwise empty room, everything about it has suddenly become off. I say that to bring up the entrance tubes to this game's iteration of caves. If you're old enough to have used film rolls and cameras, you might recognize these tubes. At least I think that's what they are. I'm not certain, so if you know for sure, I'd love for you to tell me. And the point being, it's a familiar thing in an unfamiliar setting. Why is it partially buried? Why does it lead to potential multitudes of subterranean floors? Why do I ask these things knowing full well I will not be getting an answer? Our brains just can't stop because Pikmin has always found a way to just poke incessantly at our imaginations. It warms my heart to say that that tradition is very alive in Pikmin 4, arguably the strongest it's ever been. We will be diving into the caves at some point, pun intended, provided this is something people tell me they want to see more of, hint hint. But this video is meant to be bite-sized, so we're staying above ground today. Now, normally on a first playthrough, this area would be crawling with a colorful collection of critters, all looking to lock you into a dangerous life or death dance. This makes the peaceful air a bit more tense. It's a very bittersweet sort of taste. The sense of pressure and danger, combined with the soothing nature of the setting, makes her a very compelling initial exploration. When I first played the game, I wandered around every bit of this place that I could, marveling at every little thing. This game is very pretty. It's a devastatingly pretty game. The blend of realism and cartoonish exaggeration is perfect. It's one of the only games that have had me unintentionally stopping just to look at it. Not out of interest or curiosity or anything specific, but just out of pure captivation by the beauty of the world I was just dropped into. While I could very easily go on tangents about each and every small prop in the area, I don't think you all would like to see that, though again, let me know if that's wrong, and I will gladly go down some rabbit holes. And it's also worth noting the house you can see in the distance, along with the large metal gate that stands atop a few stone steps. The lack of any real decay or degradation of any of the set pieces, including the house and the gate, makes me believe that this is indeed present-day Earth. I have a lot of thoughts on that topic, but that will be saved for another day. The stone and wooden fencing offers a contrasting coldness and warmth, respectively, that gives things a nice balance and atmosphere. The bags of soil or possibly mulch that adorn the edges of the area, as well as all of the displaced tools and miscellaneous debris, all lead to a very loose vibe. It brings to mind being a kid again. There's a kind old lady that lives just up the street, and you and some of the other neighborhood kids like to go and visit and listen to her stories from her life well lived. You sit with your friends in her lovingly but amateurly tended garden. The wood of the bench is warm from the bright summer sun. She gives you and your friends some popsicles or lemonade to keep you cool while she weaves tales from the loom of her long life. The things she says make sense, but the real content goes far over your naive head, and the only thing that really sticks is the memory of the feelings you had in that moment. All of the things I've said so far may seem scattershot and like they don't fit together very neatly. However, it's time for me to prove you wrong and wrap it all up in a neat bow. So my read on the vibe is as follows. The disruptive call of cicadas spills into your bedroom window, waking you from a blissful slumber. Normally being woken up in such an obnoxious manner would annoy you. However, the cicada's call heralds another day of summer vacation. The worries of homework, bullies, crushes, and every other facet of your elementary school life seem far, far away. They're obscured by the heat radiating from the pavement of your neighborhood. The other kids are already outside, hollering and laughing and yelling with joy. You jump out of your bed, throw on your clothes laying on the floor, and run outside to start another day of carefree adventure. It's about the time of day that the nice older woman up the street is outside, tending to her ambitious and well-maintained garden. Feeling the heat of the day wearing on you, you and your friends head to visit her, hoping to hear a story and find some shade. Her garden is filled with plants and insects that you've never really seen before. Every tiny little creature appearing almost alien to you while you observe them. They go about their business completely unaware and unfettered. The old woman's garden has been steadily growing, and it appears another expansion is underway. Around the normally meticulously neat garden are tools and supplies scattered to every corner. Despite the unusual orientation of things, the bench is as warm as ever, the trees are as vibrant as ever, and the old woman's gentle voice is as enthralling as ever. You and your friends all lose track of time. You all sat and listened and sipped the homemade lemonade the old woman offered you. The memory is now forever in your senses. The taste of the lemonade, the smell of the garden and the soil, the gentle presence of the old woman, and the sense of belonging sitting beside your friends. It's a memory of a time without stress, a time without worry for things beyond when your favorite cartoon is on. Every time summer comes around and the smell of greenery and the sunlight hangs in the humid air, you're brought back, at least briefly, to those days in your old neighborhood. And that, friends, is my read on the vibe of the Sunspeckled Terrace in Pikmin 4. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to support the channel, leave a like and a sub if you're having enough fun. You can also head over to my Patreon and support like these fine, wonderful folks here, and you'll also get a few perks, so go check that out. Thank you to everyone, and until next time, I love you all.